Welcome to this episode of the Sneaker Principle Podcast. I believe this is episode 41. And for those of you who don't know, I am on a current mission to record a piece of content every day. At minimum, post every day, but some days I do 2 or 3 and I distribute them accordingly. But my goal is to post a piece of content every day under the banner of the Sneaker Principle Podcast from January 1st all the way through June 30th. And I'll be honest with you, I am struggling right now. I sat on my couch this evening and said to myself, I have to post a piece of content this evening. And it's already 9:30. And right now it's, I don't know if you can tell, I think something's blocking it, but it's 10:18 right now, 10:17, about to be 18. And I'd rather just lay down or sit on the couch and watch TV until TV watches me. But I'm committed to this, so I'm not going to do that. But however, I have to tell you, it's been a very interesting exercise in getting to understand and know yourself. This act of turning the camera on and speaking to it, talking to a microphone, and kind of creating a in-person, first-person kind of journal. That's what this really feels like. And I, so far, have been kind of just figuring out, okay, what do I want to talk about this evening or today? Or I have a moment and I would tell myself, okay, I'm going to talk about this when I record. And it's been interesting. It's interesting to see how when you do something in repetition, eventually it becomes easy. But also, it's also interesting to see how, as you do things, how you want to do it better. And then at the same time, you find easy ways to do things that's not as complicated as you're making them. Like on Wednesday and Thursday, those 2 videos were recorded on my iPhone. Even though I had my ZVE-1 Sony camera right there in the bag, I knew that I was exhausted. Wednesday, I had class that evening. It was like 7:30. And I was like, by the time I pull the camera out, set it up to record, I'm going to be exhausted. And I'm probably not going to want to do it. So I said, you know what, let me just use my phone. Use there's a cinematography setting that I use. Gives you a nice, creamy background. It also shoots in 24 frames per second, which gives you the very cinematic look, And I said, you know what, I'm going to do it on my phone. And I'm going to use my phone speaker to do it. So that's how I recorded. And the best part about it is I could upload directly from my phone to YouTube. Even though it killed a chunk of my data for the month. But I did it 2 days in a row. But still, knowing that that's an option is phenomenal. And now I am back in my studio where I just walk in, I turn the light on, I turn my camera on, my Rodecaster Pro, and I just talk. But this evening, I want to talk to fathers out there, especially school leaders that are fathers, or anyone who's in the role of a father. So I'll say this. It is hard being a leader because often when you're a leader, you end up becoming fathers to the many. People are looking to you. People are asking you questions. People need to know what's next because they're leaning on your words, your decision process. You have the answers. And it's exhausting. I found myself in those arguments where it's like, is it like, those arguments where you're like, is where I'm being questioned, do you think it's your job is harder than a mother's job? Now, one of the things I'll tell you is this: I would never want a mother's job, not as a man. It's a space that I don't understand. It's a space that I know that requires so much of who you are in your total nature of who you are. But I also say this: there's a reason that Obama went from having jet black hair to being all gray within one term in office. Because as the father of a nation, because that's who he becomes. He's everybody's dad. He is the leader. He's the one in the Oval Office in the White House. And the amount of what you have to deal with from moment to moment is extraordinary. It doesn't stop ever. You're constantly warring with something. You're constantly debating something. You're constantly trying to find a way to make ends meet. You're constantly, because at the end of the day, you know that nobody cares what you're feeling or what you're going through. All they know is that as the man, you have a responsibility to keep and maintain. And your inability to do that only further proves that you are not a man. I'm not saying that. That is the perception that's being put out there. And the fact of the matter, many men fear I was going to say they deal with it. No, a lot of them just don't. So they walk away and try to erase the. They try to erase that feeling. But for me, I'll tell you this. Today was a long day, Saturday. And the thing about Saturdays for me is it's not a day off. It's a day to do all the things I was not able to do during the week. I'm up typically about 4 o'clock on a Monday through Friday basis. And I don't leave my building typically to about 6:30 every day. So by the time I'm heading home, most of the time my kids are already sleeping or they're going through their bedtime routine. And at 6:30, 7 o'clock, if you have things to do, most of the people you have business with are already closed. So you got to figure out a way to maneuver things outside of your leadership. In my case, my leadership, my school that I run, the damn near 200 kids that I serve, the families and teachers and everything else. So go all through that, and Saturday morning I'd get work done, but then also deal with all the other things I deal with. And then typically Saturday afternoon, about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, today had to be 3:30. I go pick up my kids. We don't live together, continuously. They have 2 homes with their mom and with me. And the way things work out right now is the weekends, that time from Saturday afternoon till Sunday evening when I drop them back off with their mother is our time. And I'm always happy to see them. And I would love to think they're always happy to see me. But it's exhausting. Not them. It's just everything that's carried, and you have to manage so you can be present for them for this small period of time that you are. Not because you don't want to see them, not because I don't want to see them, it's because it's just the nature of where I'm at right now and work and everything else. And building them and building for them as well. I'm saying all these things at the same time as I'm thinking to myself how I want fathers to understand that you have to fight through your exhaustion. You have to fight through your issues with your child's mother or whoever it may be. But understanding that your children are feeding off of what they see in you. They are feeding off of what they hear you say to their mother or their mother to you. They're feeding off of all that. There was a time where I really believed that my kids were damaged from all the fighting that they saw and arguing and everything else. The there was a time when I noticed there was this little bit of kind of a mean streak with my daughter, with her brother. And I would ask myself, is she just mirroring the behavior she saw from her parents? But the one thing I would tell you is this. I can use all these thoughts in my head to give myself an excuse to stay away. But I don't, because the fuel that I need to move on every single day are both Noah and Musa, my daughter and son. And too many of us fathers don't fight to make the time, dedicated time to our children. Even when we're in the household with them, we don't make the dedicated time. We go from, oh, mom is the one taking care of them, to, oh, they're big kids now, so they take care of themselves. But our kids need their dads to be present, no matter how bad things are. Today I had a tickling session with my son. He laughed so loud and so hard that it brought joy to my heart. I had a cool conversation with my daughter, and I'm sitting there listening to her articulate and say things. At one point, I was like, "How are you doing?" She says, "I'm good." I'm like, "Good? What does that mean?" She's like, "Okay, I'm fine." I'm like, "What does fine mean?" She's like, "I'm okay." What does that mean? She's like, "Daddy, I don't feel bad, so I'm good." And she's a 6-year-old. And I don't know why that blew me away. Fathers who struggle to be in front of their children, fathers who are like, I work too much, fathers who are like, whatever reason, to not take responsibility and be present in their child's life. You gotta stop it. You gotta be present, no matter how small the time, no matter how old the place that you spend time with them in. Some fathers would say, "Oh, I'm embarrassed. I don't have much. The divorce took everything. I'm sleeping on the floor in a 1-bedroom or in a studio apartment." It doesn't matter. Your kids don't want to see the apartment. They want to see you. The kids they don't care about all the other stuff. All they care about is about you. And I'm happy that I figured that out early. Because no matter how long the week is, the best moment of my days of my week is the days that I get to see them. Because every time I see them, they are more brilliant. They're more amazing. Call to action. If you are a father, regardless of what field you're in, when's the last time you saw your kids? When's the last time that you were intentional about them? All right, y'all, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. Hopefully what I record this evening makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, whatever. You'll be over it. Well, till next time, be well.